A few hours from now, you'll be on your knees on the floor of your own kitchen, watching a 20-something peasant try to separate a pile of poppy seeds mixed with dirt, grain by grain, while quietly sobbing and whispering, "I just wanted a magic sword." The worst part? He's already on his third impossible task, and you still haven't granted his wish yet, because honestly, the look of despair on his face is the most entertaining thing you've had in centuries. I personally would have charged interest by now, but hold on, let's go back to the beginning. Today you woke up, but there's a problem. You are Baba Yaga, the most feared witch in all of Slavic mythology, and your alarm clock is the sound of your own hut rising up on two giant chicken legs because it decided, all on its own, that it was time to shift positions. You open your eyes, and the first thing that hits you is the smell. A blend of dried herbs, smoke, something that may or may not have been a person at some point, and that unmistakable scent of old wood that hasn't been cleaned since before the concept of cleaning things was invented. You get up, and get up is a generous term for what your body actually does, because you are old. Not old like, oh, she's past 60. Old like, I watched civilizations rise and fall and found them equally irritating. Your back makes a sound like someone snapping dry branches, and your hair, a wild, gravity-defying gray mass that has also given up on hygiene, seems to have developed its own ecosystem overnight. You run your hand through it, and something moves in there. You ignore it. The hut sways again. The chicken legs are restless, which means someone is approaching. You feel it in your bones, literally, because one of your many useless abilities is sensing the presence of mortals through joint pain. The closer the intruder, the worse the ache in your hip. Right now, your hip is screaming. I'd have told the hut to run by now, but you have a reputation to maintain. You drag yourself to the massive cauldron hanging over the fire that never goes out and prepare breakfast. The menu is the usual, a stew made of things you're better off not identifying. There are roots, mushrooms, something with eyes, and that special ingredient you don't share, because people tend to react badly when they find out it's ground up bone. From what? Doesn't matter. As you stir the cauldron, you feel that familiar wave of existential irritation. You are Baba Yaga, guardian of the threshold between the living and the dead, mistress of the forest, keeper of knowledge that would make gods weep. And what do you spend most of your time doing? Seeing people? You're basically a supernatural Slavic civil servant, except your clients show up trembling and crying instead of complaining at the counter. The energy, however, is exactly the same. There's a knock at the door. Someone knocks on the door, which is already impressive given that the hut is 3 meters off the ground. With no ladder, you make the hut crouch down and the door swings open. There he is, the first hero of the day. A young peasant with a rusty sword, wide eyes, and the expression of someone who was sent here by his girlfriend and is already regretting it. He smells of fear and wet horse. "Oh great Baba Yaga," he begins, and you already want to close the door. They all start like that. In centuries of existence, not a single mortal has tried a simple, "Good morning, Miss Yaga," and then comes the request. There's always a request. No one visits just to chat. I understand that frustration. It's like being that friend everyone only calls when they need help moving. You let him in because there's a protocol. Baba Yaga respects protocols, not because she's polite, but because they exist to make mortals' lives more difficult. And that amuses you. The mortal makes a request. You impose impossible tasks, and if he completes them, which almost never happens, you grant the wish. If he doesn't, the cauldron always has room for new ingredients. The boy wants a magic sword to slay a dragon. Original. You assign 3 tasks. Separate poppy seeds mixed with dirt, grain by grain, empty your lake with a sieve, and the third, your personal favorite, comb and braid the hair of your second head. Yes, you have a second head. No, it's not friendly. It bites. Hold on to that information. It'll be important later. While the peasant separates seeds with shaking hands, you attend to other duties. Being Baba Yaga isn't just about terrorizing peasants. That's the fun part. You're the guardian of the gate between worlds, which means spirits are constantly knocking on your door wanting to cross to the other side. Think of it like being a nightclub bouncer, except the club is the afterlife, and the clients are literally dead. You walk to the fence surrounding your territory, built from human bones, posts topped with skulls whose eyes glow in the dark. Your security system, more effective than any alarm. Three spirits are waiting: a confused old man who died in his sleep, a furious warrior who was expecting the hero's paradise, not a waiting line, a silent child who just stares at you. You smell their souls, yes, that's a real thing, and release the old man and the child. The warrior, sent back. Soul, far too arrogant. He curses at you. You turn him into a beetle. Manners are learned. Next 2 hours are more of the same. Spirits arriving, you deciding fates, transforming the inconvenient ones into insects. Monotonous, but someone has to do it, and that someone is an immortal witch in a hut with chicken legs. The universe has a questionable sense of humor. I need to interrupt for a second. I've narrated disasters every week. Gladiators, Norse gods, people falling out of the sky. But this is the first time I've felt genuine empathy for the subject. Baba Yaga is basically a department manager who never asked for a promotion. If you feel that pain, the least you can do is subscribe to the channel, because someone suffers here every week, and the company makes it all a little more bearable. You head back and find the peasant still on the seats, crying. You almost feel sorry for him, but no, that's just hunger. Time for lunch. You fly out in your giant mortar. Your transportation is an enormous mortar. You steer with a pestle as a rudder and collect mushrooms that glow in the dark, herbs that smell like despair, and a hare that made the mistake of crossing your path. Noise outside. Village kids doing the "I dare you to go up to Baba Yaga's place" challenge. 5 of them, none older than 12, one holding another's hand. You make the hut turn toward them. The chicken legs take 2 heavy steps. The kids bolt screaming. 3 dap, 1 loses a shoe. You don't laugh, because Baba Yaga doesn't laugh. But something in the corner of your mouth does something suspicious. The peasant finishes the seeds. Perfect. That irritates you. Then comes the second task. 3 hours trying to empty the lake with a sieve, screaming at the sky about gods who abandoned him. The gods didn't abandon him. They just don't care. I know from experience. But the boy is clever. He spots a shallow point where water drains naturally and redirects the flow instead of using the sieve. By sundown, the lake is empty. You're impressed. That irritates you even more. Now the third task. The second head lives in a cabinet in the back of the hut, has opinions about everything, and bites anything that gets close. Combing its hair is something even you avoid. Last time you lost 2 fingers. They grew back, but it hurt. The peasant opens the cabinet and the head lunges for his nose. What happens over the next 2 hours is one of the most absurd scenes I've ever narrated, and I've seen a lot. He tries to comb while the head snarls, bites, spits, and at one memorable point sings a Slavic lullaby so badly out of tune the walls shake. He takes 3 bites, loses a chunk of his sleeve, and in desperation starts telling stories to distract her. It works. The head loves tragic stories. She goes quiet while he tells her about his village being attacked, the deaths, the daily fear. In that silence, he combs and braids. You watch from the corner and something happens that hasn't happened in centuries. You're surprised, not by cleverness. The clever ones ended up in the cauldron. It's the honesty. He didn't try to trick her, use force, or play the hero. He was just honest. And the head, which bites everything and everyone, went quiet. The braid is done. Crooked, imperfect, but done. 3 tasks completed. You walk over to him and extend your hand. A sword materializes, forged in otherworldly fire, metal carrying an impossible glow. Bone handle. He takes it trembling, whispers, "Thank you." You don't respond. You point to the door. He runs out without looking back. Night brings more spirits. You process them all with weary efficiency. One tries to bribe you with happy memories. You accept and send him to the back of the line. Another asks if you're happy. He becomes a toad. Midnight. The forest is quiet. Just you, the hut, and the chicken legs shifting position like an uncomfortable dog. You lie down on the wooden plank covered in bearskin you call a bed. Tomorrow will be the same. Another hero. More tasks. More loneliness disguised as power. Today's lesson? Being immortal and all-powerful sounds incredible until you realize the job has no retirement plan, public service never ends, and the only uninvited visitors you ever get are kids who showed up on a dare. While Baba Yaga isn't evil by nature, she's evil because after 1,000 years of serving ungrateful people, anyone would be. And next time, you'll meet someone who flew too high and didn't regret a single second of it. Not when the wax melted, not when the ground rushed up to meet him. Because sometimes, the fall is the price you pay for having looked the sun in the eye up close. And honestly, he'd pay it again.